Well, good evening. Clyde is finally in his cave and playing his Red Dead Revival game, so I can tell you the story of December 1st. And buckle up. Um, After the story of December 1st, and once I get it all put up and everything, I will do part 2, the story of December 2nd, which, oh my. Anyway, let's start with December 1st, which happened to be a few things. It was payday. It was the payday that my doctor had convinced me that I needed to join Clyde in going to town and trying to pretend to be human so we could test my new anxiety medication. And it was the first snowfall, and it was a doozy of a snowfall. And it was also, it marked 33 years that Clyde and I have been married. So, big day. And so, to take me anywhere, one must have a plan. I insist you do not throw anything in. So, if we're going to go somewhere, we are going to go to point A, then B, then C. For instance, on the first, we were going to stop at the grocery store outside of Orofino and get me a Monster for breakfast and Clyde something to eat. And then we were going to go to the bank in Moscow and the recycle center, and that went smoothly. So did Winco in Moscow. Then we had to stop outside of Pullman. Then we stopped at Cougar Mart, and the weather was just icky. I mean, it wasn't just snowy white everywhere on the ground, which snow can be very pretty when it's covering the ground, but the air was white. It looked like you were driving through a den of dragon's breath. It was thick. And there were a lot of noodle brains out there that were driving without their headlights on. So it wasn't great weather-wise, but Clyde's a good driver. And then we went, got my Venom at Cougar Mart, and after Cougar Mart is where things started kind of falling apart. We headed down and got on the main road to head to the dollar store in Pullman, because we decided we'd just go there, and to Pullman's Walmart because it's easier for us to find stuff in that one. So we were at one light where I think it took like 3 turns before we got up there. And before we got up there, a rescue truck went zooming through. So now I'm like head on a swivel trying to keep an eye on everything because I am the number 1 backseat driver. And Clyde's probably the only one that can put up with that reasonably well, and I think it's because he just ignores me most of the time. And so we get to the dollar store, get in there. I was going to go find one thing. They didn't have it, so I wandered around and got $50 worth or so. And as we were leaving the dollar store, there was couple of guys somewhere in the parking lot having a rather loud discussion, and I'm pretty sure they weren't exchanging niceties. So we got out of there and headed to Walmart, and we got done in Walmart and headed to Lewiston, Clarkston. And I've been down the Spiral Highway with Francis Ann's dad and a cattle truck full of cattle. And he was kind of a daredevil. But then I was younger, and things didn't hurt or take so long to heal. But the new Lewiston Hill, I think, makes me more nervous, and I don't like passing on corners, and I tend to usually have one rather good anxiety attack on that hill. And I, of course, did. So now I'm over shopping, because now the anxiety I've had all day has just amped up to major. And I'm calling Clyde every name but his own. Either one of his own. And he's ignoring me, and we get to Clarkston, and he goes in and gets the stuff there, and then we go to Lewiston, and he goes into Winco and finishes our grocery shopping while I sit in the car and listen to the radio and worry about the battery dying and us being stuck in the parking lot at Winco and Lewiston. But I still listen to the radio, because I was trying to pretend that there were not a lot of humans out there, because I was not in a peoply mood. But we got through that, and he came back out, and by the time he got out to the car, the only thing I can see are these strobe lights of, there's a migraine coming, there's a migraine coming. So he did the only wise thing, and we did one detour on our trip, and we went to McDonald's and I got a quarter pounder, and he got chicken McNuggets, and we shared some French fries. And then we finally got home, but on the ride home, that was really horrible. I'm pretty much like, well, I'm not blind, but I can't see very well. And that's why I gave up my driver's license. I'm not safe. But I'm kind of looking down, and I look up, and I thought he was running without the headlights. It was so dark. So then I had another freak out. I've got to say, I was really glad to get home. And that was our anniversary. We got home, and the dogs were really mad at us, but then they got fed. They're used to eating at about 3:30, and I think we got home at like 6 or so. But that's how we spent our anniversary, and I'm just going to say that the new anxiety medicine did not work, does not work, and the only thing that I actually found that it did for me was turn me part vampire and part zombie, because I slept all day long, and when I wasn't asleep, I was zombieing around and could not function, and the castle fell apart. I mean, let me tell you, you couldn't even walk in here. You still really can't. There's kind of just a path. But I've been very busy, so anyway, yeah, it's been rough. I've been sick for about 3 weeks now, maybe more. And I do hope that I am going to call the doctor and talk to her about new medication, and hopefully we'll find something that actually does work. But Clyde and I survived another anniversary, and I'm pretty sure we're going to last at least another year. So, hang on to your magic. And I will have another video out shortly, and that one will be about December 2nd and the insanity that has been December 2nd. See you in a bit.